For this first craft, we are going to use some of the fabric that I used in my last fall video, and I'm going to use this. This is just like a shelf sitter that I picked up at a thrift store. I think I paid 50 cents for it. And I am going to take this fabric. I used my Cricut to cut out an exact square for this size. And I know I could just use scissors, but I was already cutting with my Cricut, so I thought I would go ahead and do that. I am going to just put some Mod Podge down. I thought about using some pixie spray, but I'd like it to be pretty, I don't want to say permanent, but pretty well adhered to this surface. So I'm just going to go over this entire surface here with some Mod Podge. Okay, I'm definitely going to go around the edges, get the edges nice and coated, including just the upper part of the side of the edge of the edge of this side. Okay, that's probably good for right now. Okay, so then we're going to get our fabric, and I'm just going to bring it in, and I'm going to get it nice and put in there right where it needs to go. There we go. We're going to let this dry before we work on the remainder of this project. So I'm going to go ahead and just set that aside for right now. And then while I have this Mod Podge out, I am going to be using this here, but I want to cover up some of that. And I had tried a black paint, but unfortunately the black paint is just a little too dark. So for this one here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get some brown paint on. I'm just kind of wiping off some of this excess Mod Podge on there. This is called Hazelnut, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this chalk paint and get this on there. Actually, I need to shake this up pretty good. Okay. And I'm just going to pour out a little bit on here. And then I'm going to paint over this particular one. My other ones I think will be okay because what I'm putting on top is rather dark. The one that's going on top of here, not so much. And when we start the rest of the project, I'll get a new brush, since this one has glue and paint on it. Okay, so this is now covered, and I am going to go wash my hands and set this aside, and then we're going to get started on another craft. Okay, so we are going to do something that is so super cool, and I cannot wait to show you. So I have my glitter tray here and a piece of paper, and then I have these 3 wood lasered, or these, laser pieces. Thankful, grateful, blessed. And earlier I was playing around with what to do with these and, how I wanted to color them, so to speak. And I decided that I really wanted some glitter. And I thought, well, adhesive vinyl probably, it would work, but I didn't know if that was the look I was going for. And then I came up with this. Isn't that pretty? So I tested it on the back and it worked perfectly. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to take the Versamark embossing pad and we're going to put it on top of these. And then we're going to cover them with this embossing powder right here from Hero Arts. This is iridescent gold. And then I'm going to heat set it. Okay, so I do have my heat gun here. All right, so I guess let's just get started on these. In fact, let me move that because I can stamp these up pretty good. Okay. All right, and I'm pretty sure I got it really well. I'm going to rub it one more time over here. Get it nice and inky. Okay. Set that off to the side so I don't get anything on it. Then I'm going to take this. Look how pretty that is. It's just gorgeous. Okay. And then I'm just going to go over it just like I would as if it was cardstock. Let it hang out while we let it sit there for a second. Okay, I think I have everything covered. Set that way over there. Okay. Then I'm going to take, and I'm going to be careful just to touch the edges and not the top. And I'm just going to shake that off here. Okay, so this is a very muted gold. Okay, so we've got one. And then I'm going to funnel this back in so I can reuse it. And we're going to do the same thing to the other two. Oop. Okay, so this ink is so sticky that I pulled this up a little too aggressively, but that's okay because we're going to get this all glued down. So I'll just do this in pieces and that'll be fine. So if you do this with these very delicate laser cuts, just be delicate, unlike the way I did that. Yeah, because it'll just go right back in here and right back in there. I could probably even glue that down and let that hang out for a few minutes before I did that. So I may grab my glue here in just a second. Let's go ahead and get this one while the ink is still sticky. And again, I'm just shaking this on here. Kind of makes me think of Christmas cookies. You know how you shake the sprinkles on your Christmas cookies? Do you guys make Christmas cookies? I know this is a fall video, but do you guys make Christmas cookies? Do you make any special things for fall? I love baking in the fall. We make a lot of pumpkin bread and a lot of pumpkin muffins. Okay, so that one is beautiful. Let's funnel this back in, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to grab a little bit of my glue here, and I'm going to go in and see about just kind of tacking that together. Yep, I think it's definitely time to refill my glue. I've been trying to hold off, but I think it is time to get this glue refilled. Okay, so I'm going to hold this and essentially count to 10. And we'll put glue on this one. slide that in there. Okay, and we'll hold that one for a minute. All right, now I'm going to be very gentle getting more of this on there. Okay, and I'm not going to handle this too much. I'm just going to put it right down in there. Okay, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top instead of handling it. I'm not sure that that glue is completely dry yet. Okay. I think I'm still going to have to glue that a little more, but it's definitely covered in glitter, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to funnel this back in here. Right, and then we will be done with the embossing powder. My desk is covered in a fine sheen of gold iridescent. So are my hands. But like I always say, glitter is my favorite color, so not a big deal. Okay, I'm going to turn this on, and I'm going to go ahead and get these heat embossed. That way we can fix our grateful, and then we can move on. And I'm going to zoom in for you so that you can see the process, because it's pretty cool. So this is what they look like now that it is all heat embossed. So pretty. All right, and I'm gonna fix this last one. Oh goodness. Okay, so we're gonna probably just need to put more glue down in here. Just like so. A little bit more here. Okay, and then we're going to get these married right there. All right, then I'm going to get a little baby wipe, see about getting up some of this glitter. Okay, and then this particular one right here, I am going to let this just sit. Actually, I'm going to grab an acrylic block. Okay, I'm going to take an acrylic block and just set it down on top of there and let that get nice and dry. Okay, so this is actually quite dry, so that worked out really fast. This seems like it is done. I'm just going to have to be really careful with that one. And then these are ready. So my thought was that I would put them on here. So I just need to get them centered where I want them. I'm thinking that the grateful will have to be in the middle, and the thankful can be at the top. Let's see, left, just do we want them left justified and then in the center? What do we think? Maybe I want them all in the center. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that. So bringing back in the Fabrifix, and this will allow me to get plenty of glue down but it won't dry like hot glue. And I'm just going to go over the back. Not too much because I don't want it to seep out all over the place, so just a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to get this fairly centered, just like that, and press that down. That looks pretty centered. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, this tiny little leaf piece is actually the inside of a leaf that I cut out using my laser engraver, and it's so dainty, but it gives a little bit of dimension. So I thought it would be neat just to plop that here on this edge. Okay, and just kind of an unexpected little element. So we're going to put this right like that. Okay, look at that. That looks so good. Okay, so this one is done and ready. All right, well, let's move on to the next one. Okay, for our next craft, I believe this is dry, so I'm going to bring this back in, and we're going to put these together. All right. So, this in particular was one of those Dollar Tree deals where, you know, you could take them apart. And I'm actually going to reattach this. I was going to use this for some coasters, but I decided to go ahead and use it for a little wall hanging. Now, the middle one, this little decal sticker that they have, it definitely came off. It was, you know, very easy to remove. It just basically peeled right off. The lower one here, I don't know that this is really going to come up very well. I'm not too concerned about it. That one in particular, like I said, I was worried about the show through. So let me see if I can get the rest of this off here. Okay, so I think that piece isn't going to come off, and that's okay. I'm not too concerned about it because the rest of this is solid. So one of the things that I do want to do is, while this is taken apart, I'm going to go ahead and start getting these items, these little circles that I made. Now, these were cut out with my Cricut. I just used my rotary blade. Let me bring in, I'm going to bring in just a little piece of carrier sheet from some vinyl, and I'm just going to use it. I'm going to put some Mod Podge down, just like that. And what I want to do is I'm just going to paint over this surface here. Okay. Okay, so just like that. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this orange fabric here, and I'm going to lay that on top. Get that as closely centered on there as possible. Okay. There we go. And of course, now that I'm thinking about it, I wish that I had put that on here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these off of this jute. I'm going to go ahead and just remove all of them. And then I can work with them, and then I'm going to put it back together. It's actually easier to do it that way anyway. So otherwise you've got them kind of all knocking around together. So this is good. All right, I think that will be a lot easier for me to handle. Okay, now I don't want to put a whole lot, but I'm just going to kind of go over this fabric right here with that Mod Podge. Give it a nice little coat. Okay, so this is fully adhered onto there with that Mod Podge, and I'm just going to set that off to the side. And I do need to grab a quick baby wipe. I just don't want to have this glue sit all over my glass mat, even though it cleans up nicely. It's just easier if you clean it up right away. Okay, there we go. All right, and then we're gonna do these two. All right, so full disclosure, it has been a couple days since I filmed the first craft. It's been just a very hectic week, and I honestly can't remember if I told you that we were doing something different with this particular craft or not. But if I did, then in the meantime, I thought of something different. So I'm going to get this Mod Podge down on here. I'm going to do this on both of them. Now, if I were to let this completely dry, I would probably need to get out my Easy Press Mini and heat it to reactivate the glue. But because this is wet, I'm thinking it'll be just fine. Okay, let me go ahead and stick this on here. All right, now these have notches for these little wood beads. So I do need to be mindful that my design, since it's directional, that my design is going in the correct direction. Okay, and I'll just get that on there. This one actually, this is looking really good. And the fact that this is a dark fabric, I don't know that I have to, like this one, I had to make sure that, you know, I get everything looking exactly so. But here, this is some dark fabric, so even if there's a little mishap, I don't know that anybody would know. And then, you know, I can just do a quick coat of Mod Podge on here. All right, so I'm going to finish this one up, and then I'm going to do the same thing to this one over here. Okay, so I think I've got all of these put together. So these do need to dry for just a little bit before I move on to the next phase. So I'm just going to kind of clean up here for a minute, and then I think we may go ahead and go on to the next craft that I have, and then we'll finish these up at the end. Okay, for my last craft of this particular video, I decided to go ahead and dress up this beautiful charger plate. Let me zoom out just a little bit so you can kind of see the whole thing there. All right, so this is absolutely gorgeous. Now, just for frame of reference, okay, so this is about 12 3/4 wide. And the interior piece here is about 8 inches wide. And what I thought I would do would be to decorate this with some adhesive vinyl. So I have a design here. And then I'm probably going to get one of those little stands that holds plates. I know you can pick them up at Dollar Tree or Hobby Lobby, but just the ones that hold the plates vertical. And then I'm just going to display this in my kitchen area. So I thought that would be so pretty. All right. So I've got a few colors here. I'm going to move this to the side for just a moment while we do some weeding. And so these here, this is this gorgeous, beautiful color here, this gold. Absolutely. This is by Tech Wrap. This is a beautiful gold, and it almost has a shimmer to it. It's not a shimmer vinyl. I mean, it is adhesive, but it's just beautiful. I love this kind of gold, so I'm just going to be a little frugal here. I'm going to trim off all of these. And now, normally I probably wouldn't keep anything that small, but for right now, I'm just going to do that because I may use it on something else. I'm not real sure. All right, so this design, and I've used this design before. I am going to weed this out, and it's literally just a plain old pumpkin. Okay. I will link this down below as well. I did not get this one out of Design Space. I've had this for a little bit, but it's just beautiful. I love it. And I do actually like quite a few of the pumpkins in Cricut Design Space, so they are all good choices. All right, so we have this big pumpkin here. Now this was like a ginormous, like a grid of leaves. And I am just going to, I cut them out of my vinyl, and I'm just going to take a moment here to trim out these leaves. I'm going to be using them individually anyway, so I really would like to save some of this vinyl if I can. If not, it's not that big of a deal. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to cut all these leaves apart, and that way I still have my remaining vinyl for other crafts. And then these are going to be easier to work with because I'm going to need them separate anyway. Okay, so I've got all of these leaves cut apart. So we're going to be getting them onto our little, we're going to be getting those around the perimeter of our charger plate, and this is going to go in the center. So the next thing is going to be grabbing some transfer tape. And then I think I'm going to need a pretty big size piece of transfer tape for this one. So I will cut this down, and there we go. Okay, and all right, so here is my little pumpkin. Get that on there. We're going to burnish this down on the front and on the back. Okay, so here is my pumpkin. And then we have all of these leaves here. So we're going to get these weeded out. These are so cute. And you could use these leaves for just about anything. They are just fantastic. All right. So this is going to come out, but then I need this little piece to go right back in there. So I need the stem to be right back on there, just like that. So I'm just going to weed all of these out, and then we're going to get these covered with some transfer tape. Okay, I've got all of those weeded out. Now I'll tell ya, I'm wondering if I need a new Cricut blade because some of them seemed a little rough to get the little pieces off, but I can't imagine that my blade needs to be changed, but maybe it does. All right, so I'm just gonna lay these down here like so, and then we can just cut these apart. All right, and then I just have one left. I can deal with that one there. But basically, I'm just gonna go through, kind of burnish these down. I think it'll be easier to do it this way because I have all those overlapping in the back. Okay, and I have a spare piece here, so I could use a little corner. Just like that. Awesome. Okay, let's bring in, well, let me move some stuff right here. And then we're going to bring in the plate, the charger plate. So I'm going to grab my rubbing alcohol, and I'm just going to put a little bit on this lint-free cloth, kind of dab it in a little bit. I don't want it too wet. And I'm just going to go over the plate, make sure I get any kind of oils from my hands or dust or whatever. Okay, we'll make sure it's really clean. All right, so now I don't know that it really matters, like a top or a bottom. I kind of like this going side to side. All right, so we're gonna pull off our little carrier sheet. And then we're gonna get this put right down here in the middle. And I definitely could have made this a lot bigger, but that is good. Does that look like it's in the middle? I think so. Looks good to me. Okay. Kind of burnish this down a little bit. I'm excited about the holidays coming up. So let me know down in the comments, like, what kind of things do you and your family like to do over the holidays? You know, we're pretty typical. We like watching football and such. So, okay, I've got a couple of little bubbles in here. So I'm just using a felt covered squeegee to see if I can work those out. I may have to poke them with a little pen. Let me grab. So just kind of right like this. I'm going to release the air that's in there. Those actually already went like pretty much down, I believe. I guess user error. I didn't do a very good job with the little, getting the, you know, bubble-free application there, but that's okay. I can get these out. And quite frankly, I don't think that my family really would notice. Okay, that looks great. All right, so then my idea for the rest of this was that I have 5 of these peach ones. I have 3 of the dark brown, 3 of the green, and then I would go around and just put them here in these larger places. So I thought that that would be really fun. Let's get these. I guess I'm just going to cut these apart. There we go. All right. And then I'll worry about the little peach ones here in a few minutes because I'm not sure which ones I want to use. I'm definitely using all of the green and all of the brown because I really like, they're just so pretty. Oh, I do have 2. I have 2 peach ones that are very, very similar. That'll be an easy. So let's see. Let's do, picking up our little carrier sheet. Okay, I'm going to move that over. So I'm thinking maybe I need to burnish these a little better. That's way better. All right, so then I thought it would be neat if this is like this, and I would just have these leaves settle right down in here. And then I could pull up the transfer tape, and there we go. So that was my idea. And then I think what I want to do is put like a peach one in between. So like this, and then one here, and here, and here, there. Hopefully I did enough of these. Oh, did I not do enough of these? Or did I miss some? Let me check my vinyl. Okay, so I must not have cut out enough. So I think what I'm going to do now is maybe I'm going to kind of pivot a little bit. I definitely want to use the green ones because I just think they're pretty. And I like these chocolate covered ones. So maybe we do every other recessed area. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so if I skip one and then I do that, and then I skip one, I can do that. Skip one here, skip one, and then the green. And then if I skip one, do the pink. Does that work out? Do I have an evenly spaced? So leaf, space, leaf, space, leaf, space, leaf, space, leaf, space. Okay, I think we're going to be doing that. So we're going to be doing 2 of every color. I do have some leftovers, and I don't know that it's worth putting them anywhere. I could have sworn that I got enough, but I guess I did not. So there are 5 left over. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I'm definitely short one. That's okay. We'll just go with this. All right, well, that is what we're going to do. We are just going to go with that. Okay. And these will be easy to put down in this little recess in here. fact, I don't even really need my burnishing tool to put them in there. That just goes down just perfectly. Well, this particular leaf needs a little more encouragement to lay down where it needs to go. Okay, so the question is if I have it like this or if I have it facing out. Yeah, I think they all need to face out. Okay, so our last one here. And you know, I actually think that I like it with less leaves. I didn't think about that, but I actually kind of like it. It allows the plate to still be a focal point, and my pumpkin is absolutely center stage. So maybe that was just a happy accident. Do you ever have these when you craft, like these little happy accidents? Kind of check these little bubbles again. Fantastic. That looks so cute. I love that. Simple, beautiful, and festive. All right, so let's go ahead and finish up our last craft of the day. Okay, so this will be our last craft of the day, and I know we have worked on it throughout the entire video. But what I want to do before I put it together is there is a little bit of overhang here with this fabric. So I'm just going to take my True Control knife and go around this little edge. And I'm not worried that it's super perfect. I just don't want a ginormous piece, overhang of fabric. That's all. But I think the rest of this is good to go. All right, so we have our 3. These are dry. Now you can see this one needs to probably, really dry a little bit more, but I'm not real concerned about the fact that it's a little bit, different tone. Here is the jute hanger that all of this came on. So we're gonna put it all back together. All right, so we've got the bottom tassel. We've got 2 little beads, 1 big bead, and this one here. And what I want to do is double check the placement because I'm going to bring in my staple gun. If my staples are not too terribly big for this project, then I want to use the staple gun. If they're way too big, then I'll have to go ahead and use the hot glue or the Fabri-Fix glue. Either way, I think it'll be fine. Okay, so we've got these. And we just need 1 more up under here. Okay. All right, so I definitely think that's fine. Let me put this one. Let me try this bottom one. This is just my little Cricut self-healing mat. And I am going to see if these staples will be okay. Okay, well that's a little wonky. I personally don't mind it being wonky, but we'll just We'll try it one more time. Here we go. Let's do it this way. I think I just need a different direction. So there's the bottom. Okay, just like this. Move that bead out of the way. There we go. Okay, that's a little better. And it's not poking out of the top here, so that's perfect. We will continue in that fashion. Okay, so great. Good deal. And oh, I want to keep things as even as possible, so I'm going to go and do this bottom side first, or this top side. Make sure I got this in the correct side here. Oh. All right, now these middle ones are here, and this will slide in, and we'll get that even as possible. That way that bead has a little bit of wiggle room. If you saw my Halloween, you saw the Halloween coasters I made with these, just as an update, they are holding up so well. I have put hot coffee mugs on them. I have put regular drinks on them, and they have held up super nice. Like they look like I literally just made them. Okay, so it's going to look like this, you know, just something fun and festive to kind of put like in the kitchen, or maybe on a, like near a back door area. I always forget you can decorate the inside of your doors. Okay, and then this one here in the middle, I thought that it would be nice to go ahead and put this on there. So look like that. All right, let's grab this, pull off that little piece of glue. Okay, what side do I want? Do I want the super bright side, or do I want the side that has a little bit of the scorching? I kind of like the scorching. You know, this is like the overflow from the laser cutter. You know what? I like it. I'm just going to let it be. If you did something like this, you could have it be that way. You could do the stain on it. You could paint it. You could leave it on this lighter side. Okay, here we go. And then I'll just have it go just like that. Kind of even Steven all the way around. That'll be wonderful. All right, well, let's check out all of these things together in a project showcase. Here are all 3 crafts that we made today, and these turned out so good. I'm very pleased with all of them. So this one was the little thrift store find that I got. It was some kind of sign for like a shelf sitter. I just covered it with the fabric. And then these wood cutouts from Hobby Lobby, they look fantastic. So the Versamark ink was super great. It went down nice and even on the wood, and then the embossing powder in gold is just fantastic. I love that. And I think it's fun when you can experiment with different techniques and supplies and see what you can come up with. So I definitely encourage you to try new things. Just experiment and play, see what happens. And that really is truly the best part of crafting. So this right here was kind of a little afterthought. This little dainty leaf right here is actually the insert from this that I cut out on my laser engraver. So I didn't want to throw it away. It's just so pretty. And I thought, oh, well, why don't I just stick it right there? And so anyway, anyway, so this just came out great and I'm very pleased with how it looks and I'm excited to put this in our family room. The next craft of the evening was the really gorgeous charger plate. I absolutely love this. At first, I was a little bummed that I didn't have enough of these leaves that would allow me to go all the way around. I was short one, and it would have looked weird if I had used all of them. So I just decided to skip every other spot. I alternated my colors, and I actually think this came out so much better than I originally intended. I love this gold adhesive vinyl from Tech Wrap. That's just beautiful. And I love how all of these colors complement each other. This is such a beautiful, calming statement piece to put in our dining room. And I can't wait to get this in there. This is our last one. Now, I know I took a little bit of time throughout the video to work on this in stages, but I think it worked out really great in the end. This one here, I did paint. I covered it with that orange fabric and then topped it with the main leaf from the laser engraving. And then I just have two other complementary fabrics. So these are from the stash that Kristen sent over to me, and I think this is super fabulous. I think too that I'm probably going to take this one over to my grandmother's. I see her every week, and I like to take her some decor every once in a while. So that will probably make that way over there. Thank you all so much for spending your time with me today. I hope that you enjoyed these crafts. I really do feel very blessed and grateful for each and every one of you that takes the time to watch my videos, like them, share down in the comments, etc. You guys just really make my day and warm my heart. So again, thank you so much for being a part of the crafty community here. Don't forget, like this video, share it with crafty friends, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that you know when new content is posted. But until I see you in the next card or craft, as always, have an amazing day and happy crafting.
Thank you all so much for watching today. I'm so glad that you can join me at my craft table. If you're not already, I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you'll know when new videos arrive. Have a great day, and as always, happy crafting.